good possibility. You know, why not? We don't know that much about our solar system. We don't even know that much about our own ocean.
Right. I just think there's just so much going on that it's just, you can spend all day researching different stuff, and you just never can find a definitive answer on a lot of stuff. It's just so wacky. And I just I have to go along maybe with the webbots a little bit and say, you know, remember Griff, that graph that just like drops off straight?
Yeah.
What if it's something big like Planet X and our pole's going to like turn topsy-turvy? You know, I don't know.
In this line of what we all do, we have to really kind of, everything is speculation because we don't have the supercomputers or the technologies to just know. We have to speculate. That's all we're left with. We're picking up the crumbs and trying to figure out what's going on.
And pray.
Well, John, what do you think about all this?
Well, I think it's all speculation. It's out of my hands. It's out of my control. I'm not going to worry about it. As far as I'm concerned, it's a distraction until I have one of those little gray buggers mounted on my wall right next to my 12-point. I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, I'm ready to see what lizard people taste like too. That's the whole other topic.
John will can them.
Yeah, gray. Gray, the other white meat.
I really think they're off deep fried, but that's my own.
Hey, now, Griff, could you give people a little bit, for anybody that hasn't or weren't listening before, the last time you kind of gave a little breakdown about what the last report said. Could you fill the listeners in on what it said as far as the timeline is concerned?
Well, everything is focusing on the November 8th, 11th window. Mm-hmm. And I must tell you that he started picking up this information 10 years ago. It was there for 10 years, and it's building. And it's the largest, most dramatic indicator that he's ever picked up in the whole life of the webbug. So there's something coming. I have no doubt in my mind that something is going to occur during that window, and the line goes straight down off the bottom of the chart.
And when you say the line goes straight down, what does that mean?
That means the chart, the line on the chart goes straight down off the bottom of the page. It's like dropping the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in the Second World War. That's the kind of chart you would have in Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
Meaning like you're living your life, and then all of a sudden, boom, nothing.
Yeah, it's like you stop breathing.
Know it.
Yeah, Griff, he said, if I remember right from his reports, he said that the fall-off we're going to have, that this one is much greater than the one that they originally found in 9/11. Before they even knew exactly what the webbot did, he just says this big fall-off is much more in your face.
Yes, it's Armageddon times 100, 1,000.
Now, Greg, have you heard about the CERN experiment that's set to go off on November 9th?
Yes.
Do you think that could have anything to do with that drop?
Well, you cannot discount it. Scientifically, I'm not sure that I understand all of the components of this, but I will tell you, for them to be experimenting in this way, I think is, again, I'll use the word cataclysmic, potentially so. And if there is any, even a very small fraction of the amount of the release of power and the change that would occur, this would most likely devastate the planet. So that is certainly there, and I don't want to just jump off of this, but I want to go back and leave you with this thought about what is happening, what we're seeing at this present time. You have to understand that either from a military standpoint or even from a law enforcement standpoint, but more from the military standpoint, one of the things that the enemy, and I'll let you decide who that is. I have it very clear in my mind who it is. But for the sake of your listeners tonight, the enemy will attempt to confuse, to have so many feints or false stabs into a line, an offensive line, into their side of the territory, that they don't know where the strike is going to come. And it's an old tactic, but it's very effective, and I think it's being used as we speak. through government channels, through back channels, and especially through the confusion that we're seeing across the country in this great political climax here that's about to take place. And so whatever is planned, whatever is coming, whatever is known, and that's not being shared with the rest of mankind, simply adds to that mix. And so you come out of it, it's very difficult to put your finger on the seminal event that could knock the dominoes over. It's very difficult to project what the military or police forces are going to be asked to do because we don't yet know what the picture is that's going to develop that brings all of this into play.
Right.
So all you can do is take one step back and say, am I prepared physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally for what is coming? I'm going to be with a group next weekend where we're going to stress this because we're down to the last inning, full count, 2 out. It's right at our window.
Now, you talk about that meeting next week. What's it about, Greg, and what are you trying to accomplish?
Well, it is built on a series of meetings I've been holding for a couple of years with folks across the country. Mm-hmm. But this particular one is headed just in a little bit different direction because although I've been talking about preparation and what you need to do to network with other folks and how you set up defensive perimeters and this kind of thing, it's going to go even beyond that a couple of levels up so that people have absolutely no lack of preparation for what is about to occur. And that's really all I'm going to say at this point because it is for that private group of folks, and we're just trying to be as prepared as possible.
Now, when it comes to your preparation, and Erin, you too, I'd like to know how you feel about this too. How do you go about forming the picture that determines your course of prep? Go ahead, Greg.
Well, it's based on several elemental bedrock positions that I absolutely will not compromise. Mm-hmm. One is physical preparation. The other is a location that can be used to both secure your immediate safety in the event of a catastrophic false flag or other event, terrorist event of some kind, and thirdly, that you may offer as a sanctuary to family and close friends that which you have and are able to do to secure the area in which you live, and then mm-hmm. and then the preparational materials, whatever those might be, and certainly food, water, ammunition, weapons to defend yourself. And those kinds of things are absolutely essential. So it's a 2 or 3 level preparation, and the last, of course, but the most important is spiritual preparation, because what is coming is going to be so terrifying in some areas that without that, some people will not function.
That's very true. How do you feel about that, Erin?
Well, Greg has it 100%, and when I first started prepping, and the more I got into it, and the more I realized there were so many different scenarios, and I don't care how much money you have, you can't prepare for each thing. You don't even know each thing that could happen.
Right.
So it's like Greg said, it's preparing with the basics first. Anything after the basics, which are beans, bullets, and Band-Aids, that's extra stuff. But I also have to come to the realization, because I grew up very spoiled, very middle class, very protected. I've gotten really smart over the last few years. As Griff tells me a lot, I'm really street smart, and I don't know how that happened. But it comes down, I don't know, because, I couldn't even go buy a joint if I had to. Don't listen to that, Greg. This is not who I am. But I have become very street smart, and it all has to do with the mindset of, I can do this, and we can do everything like Greg said, and we can have this place ready. We can handle what's coming at us to the best of our abilities. But it's mindset, and that goes to what Greg said. It's your physical preparation, but you've got to be ready emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to deal with what's coming, because we just don't know exactly what's going to get us first.
John, we were talking about that earlier, and I think that's the subject of your King's Court segment tonight, but that's the way that you're preparing also, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Trying to prepare for as much as I can, but not really worrying about it, because if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That's right.
There's nothing you can do to stop it.
There's nothing you can do to stop it. Self and family, isn't that right, Griff?
That's right. You can only prepare to a point. You're kidding yourself if you think you're going to be secure and nothing can touch you.
That's right.
There are weapon systems that can take all of us out this afternoon at one time. So, and there's so many things coming at us. I wanted to ask you, Greg, what would you do if 40 million people from the Gulf started advancing on you, running towards you, 40 million? How would you handle that?
How would I handle it personally? Well, there's no way you possibly could, and the projections that were made several months ago were also privately shared with people who had contacted me either by email or personally. And I said, look, all you can do is be secure in where you are. I'm not asking that you fight the world. I'm not asking you to fight off the world. I'm simply saying be secure in your world the best you can, and then the rest will take a life of its own that you simply must react to at the time. As you said so eloquently, Griff, you can't do it all. You can't possibly have enough or prepare enough. But I can tell you this. If you can be prepared for what you must do on any given day, and you don't have to worry about taking down a deer or a couple of turkeys on this day to feed your family or your friends, but you can deal with a communications problem, or you can deal with getting some other family members up to where you are, or if you can deal with rogues that are out a mile or two advancing your way to steal what you have, you're going to be able to intellectually and militarily think about how you respond, rather than simply saying, well, I'll just make it day to day. I've got some canned goods and I got some mac and cheese and tuna fish. I'll be okay. It has to go well beyond that if you have any hope of making it through the first 90 to 180 days of a catastrophic collapse of the system.
And I think it also has to do, Greg, if I can add in, that if you have plans, at least in your head, if you've gone through scenarios in your head and you have plans for certain things, when that certain thing happens, you're not going to go into panic mode. When you go into panic mode, you die, and you make mistakes, and it's just stupid.
Yes.
Plan
and you make
out.
very
Sit around and think
decisions.
about it. Exactly.
Right. You'll react poorly, you'll make bad decisions, and then it collapses around you.
That's right. Totally right. And people now, let's just say down in the Gulf, they know that, or the people at least on the coastline that have been experiencing this blue flu or have been in the hospital for hydrocarbon poisoning. I know that some of the people on our network, Matt Smith for one, from Project Gulf Impact, was hospitalized while investigating down there, and he had hydrocarbon poisoning. And so people, although they kind of hear about these effects that are affecting people, because it doesn't overtly affect them, they don't really care, But they have to make the decision now whether they want to be able to survive in the long term. So they may have to, their only option may be to pick up and go, and to kind of give it up spiritually and say, look, you're in control. I'm going to go this way like I'm supposed to, and please, take care of me. And that's where the hard jump is for people to make. But we've seen it before, and I've brought this example up before, 9/11, the air's safe to breathe. 10 years later, people are dropping from mesothelioma and every other respiratory illness because, of course the government's going to say that the air's safe to breathe. They can't let the New York economy collapse. Well, now they're telling people, oh, it's all right, it's safe down there, but 95% of the fishing industry is shot, and the only thing that's holding them there right now is the oil, is the drilling industry down there. That's it. So people have to start, and soon, making some very tough decisions as far as, do they want to live in the long term, or do they want to suffer some serious consequences living down there? And in the same respect, people that are living in these urban areas are kind of faced with that same issue, only dealing with some of these events that we're going to face in the near future. So it's funny how there's a parallel there